boss, like we worked at the gym, and she'd never go to the gym. Curtis would never go to the gym either. But I knew she wanted to be a teacher, and I knew that Curtis wanted to be in law enforcement. Like that's all they ever talked about. And then I see her doing something else, like something else that we were working at the gym. And I know that she'd clock in, clock out, and she'd go home because as a TA, they had so many hours to do like for their students. Like she just couldn't fit in health and fitness. And so I watched her while I was pregnant. And I just like asked her what it was about. And then I kind of ghosted her for 4 months. So we all know that ghosting is part of the process. And I never take that personal because I knew Kate, like she was my friend, and I still ghosted her. So if a stranger does it to me, like totally cool, because I do it to people that I know. But when I asked Kate, I was just like to a point in my life where I understood it's not the accolades that you have in your life and this piece of paper that says that I have my MBA didn't make me more qualified like within a business career. It was like who I knew. So I built an establishment with networking in college, and I knew so many people. Like I went from being like a student custodian to being a female locksmith on campus to being a building manager for the rec center and then running my own dorms at the school. So I knew so many people, but as soon as I left there, I started back at ground zero. It didn't matter that I had my MBA. It didn't matter that I worked at the school, because every job that I applied for, and I applied for like over 50 jobs when I moved from Grand Junction, Colorado to Colorado Springs, I didn't even like get an interview. And so it was just like to a point where I was kind of talking to Kate, but I wasn't, but I was just like in a hole where I was just like, you know what, who is somebody else to define my worth? Like I thought that I went to school for 7 years, and to me, like I'm just like, I put in the work. I know how hard of a worker I am. Somebody's going to hire me. And then nobody did. And then basically I was just like, screw it. Like I'm already 4 months pregnant. I need a freaking job. And it was like November. And of course, everybody's hiring at the mall because retail is seasonal hiring. And so I just got hired there at like Charlotte Russe. And I hated it. Like I just hated retail. And then like Charlotte Russe was closing, and I was like 8 months pregnant at that time. And I'm thinking back in my head, here we go with reapplying and somebody telling me no. And now I'm going to have this big old belly going into an interview. And we know they're not going to discriminate, but I know I'm going to walk in there with a big belly and they're going to be like, this girl's going on maternity leave. Like there's no way that I'm probably hiring her. So I was just like, Kate, tell me what this coaching thing is. Don't BS me. Like I already know and see it through your story. I know that I can do it, but just tell me whatever I got to do. And like, that's kind of how I just like fell into coaching, because it was like, I know Kate, I have a relationship. I don't know what the hell she does, but I want that. And so that's kind of just like how I jumped in. And I was just like, if somebody's going to define my worth, it's going to be me. So that's kind of how I jumped into coaching.
Do you remember what Kate said when you reached out and said, like, don't give me the fluff? Like, what is this? What is this really?
Yeah, she basically said, like, we work in our health and fitness, and you are helping other people to be able to build their own businesses so that they can help other people. And I'm like, cool. Like, I love health and fitness. Like, let's do it. She didn't have to tell me, hey, this is Team Cycle, which, oh my gosh, when you guys listen to Pat talking about Team Cycle, like, you just said that you team cycled over $150. I was like, 150 times 18. Cool. That's a really nice number. And I was just like, that's goals. Like Kate didn't have to tell me any of that. I was just like, nobody's going to define my worth. And if I get to build a business for myself and I get to stay home with my baby, I'm going to do it. Like, I believe people who, it's almost like the people that don't ask a lot of questions are the ones that are going to be like your rock stars. Like you think like you want somebody that asks all these questions and all that stuff. But then I find it that when people ask too many questions, they want to know everything. And then it's just like, then they paralyze themselves from moving forward in this business, because we know that this business is a learn as we go and not tell me. And then I'm going to pour into this business. Cause Kate was just like, dude, sign up your spouse. Like, if you really want to be able to work hard in this business and maximize for the long run, do it. And I was losing my job. We lived in my in-laws' basement. My boyfriend, like, barely had a good job either. And we had like $400 saved. And so thinking like we're about to be parents, not even having money, I'm like, now I got to buy 2 challenge packs. I was like hesitant. And then I was like, let's do it. Like, if I'm stuck at this place right now, what is another challenge pack going to stop me from? I'm like, I'm going to spend $160 somewhere. I might as well be able to do it into a business that's going to help me in the long run. And so I love that, because if we're like, if you don't have your spouse signed up or somebody that is able to help you maximize your income in your household, you need to do that like ASAP, because that is something that I used to be hesitant with telling my coaches about, because I'm like, I kind of just told you to sign up, and like now I'm telling you to sign up somebody else. But if I was nervous, I get it. But in the long run, like sometimes my boyfriend team cycles and I'm like, cool. Like, I appreciate every single dollar that we make in this business, even if you made $28. I'm like, that's $28 that we didn't have. And I was like, just imagine and visualize that just being more. Like when Pat's talking about Curtis, I'm like, oh my gosh. And Kate's second business center and Ash's business center and Tyler's, like, I'm like, we literally see people doing what we should be doing, but we're scared. And I know it because we're all right there. But if we don't do the scary things, then we can't tell somebody else to do it too. So it was just Kate just telling me, just like being real. And then she just sent me like 3 videos that like broke down coaching of like what it is, what we do, and like a basic of how to make an income. Like, you make $50 if you help a person. I'm like, cool, you know?
So did you start, you reached out to her initially like about the business, but you hadn't really tried like Shakeology or the workouts or like been a part of a challenge group yet. You knew you wanted to like do everything she was doing. You wanted to get in shape like she was getting in shape. You wanted to build the business at the same time. So you kind of jumped into both like right away.
Yeah, I just jumped straight into coaching. And I've heard of Beachbody before because I used to do the DVDs and whatnot. And so I thought it was so cool. Like, I get all of this. Like, you're telling me I get all of these workouts plus like the Insanity DVDs that I had that I never finished because I always felt like by the time the warm up was done, I was done. I was like, but then I had so many options within, our platform. And I was just like, and it's only $160. I was like, I swear, I think I bought my DVDs for that much. And I didn't get a coach or accountability or Shakeology or our nutrition programs now. But I was just like, I'm down for it. Like, I've tried Shanti and I've never heard of Autumn. I've never heard of like Joel, like no other super trainers. But the one thing that really got me was just like, I know Kate. And I was like, Kate, you don't work out. Like what got you to work out? Because I want that. And I just felt like it was a perfect time to adjust from being a gym junkie to being a mom that doesn't make excuses to not be able to go to the gym, because getting in and out of a car and then hearing about daycare at the gym of you have to reserve a spot. And if you're not there in time, then like you lose your spot or something like that. And I was just like, that's just not going to fit into my life anymore. And so I told myself, because I see some people thinking, maybe I should start after I give birth. And I think the best decision I made was starting before I gave birth, because then I got to learn everything. I got to use the maternity programs, and then I get to use my own story to be able to help another mom, that's thinking I need to wait until I give birth. I get to share my story because I did it. Like, I got to do whatever program I got to with modifying, but then I'm like, but we have maternity programs. And as soon as I was cleared, I got excited to jump right back in because we had postnatal workouts. Like, I was like, oh my gosh, I get to work out with my baby. Like, count me in. So I think our stories and things that, we have hesitations towards, somebody else has that. And so I always use that as, okay, well, if I want them to do it, I got to do it too. And so that's why I was just like, I didn't really say, hey, can I try out your challenge group first and then jump in? I was just like, just tell it to me and I'm going to do like whatever Kate says. one thing I find is that people think that when you are under a coach that is building a thriving business, they think that you have like one-on-ones all the time, and that's why, maybe that's why Jonna hit Success Club for 24 months. I barely talk to Kate. I'm like, Kate will have to tell me, girl, you're about to hit diamond. I'm like, oh, really? Cool. What is that? What is next after that? It's just like, just help people keep going, because it's not our uplines or anybody that defines our worth either. Because I told myself I'm signing up for this journey so that I can be in control of my own worth instead of somebody else telling me like what I can and cannot do.
I love that. So you've been a coach for 2 years. You've hit Success Club all 24 months.
Mm-hmm.
When did you, or did you right from the beginning do both, where you did the Success Club stuff where you were getting customers, and then that second part of the business of like, okay, like I really also want to start to build a team of coaches that are crushing this? Because right now you have like, I think I saw you had like 45 coaches on your left leg and like 90 coaches on your right leg. So you have like a pretty significant team. Did you really jump into that second part of the business of like introducing people to coaching, mentoring new coaches? Did you jump right into that right away, or did that take a little bit of time during your first year?
So I think really what I focused on was at first just like Kate, just like, we're going to start a challenge group together. We are going to start 21 Day Fix. We're going to start it on this day. And I want you to be able to help 3 to 5 people. And so it wasn't even to a point of, hey, build a team, find people who want to work the business with you. It was just get 3 to 5 people into a group and let's run it together. And so I asked my cousins, my friends. I started off even asking like strangers. I was asking my boyfriend of like, hey, I'm going to invite all these girls that are on your page because we're starting this business together. And, whether they ghost us or not, it's going to be okay. But it's sending the invite is the first initiative to get them to watch.
Yeah.
And I ended up getting, I think about like 5 people to jump in. And it was around the time that you guys had the Success Club trip on the cruise. So it was like Kate wasn't available to chat all the time, And so I was just like, I'm just going to run my own group. I was like, I don't even know how to work because it was a challenge tracker at that time. And I was just like, it's 5 people. I was like, I can totally do this. And I just took initiative for myself. And I went in the coach office and I saw that we had, a 21 Day Fix layout for us to be able to use for our challenge tracker.
So
And
like
I just,
posts, like the daily posts were all like laid out for you in the online office.
yeah, so I just went in and I started using that. And then I just kicked off the same day that Kate did. And from there, it was just like anybody that was in the group, then they're just like, what are you doing? And I'm like, well, it's this coaching thing. I was like, honestly, I work on me and I get to help other people do the same. And so it wasn't even like, now I'm trying to change like my verbiage of I'm here to help other moms build a business next to their little kids. Like before it was just like, it's this coaching thing, like want to try it out? Because I didn't, Kate wasn't just like, hey, build a team for yourself. It was just, let's get people to do this program together with me. And I was like, okay, like if that's all I got to do, then let's do it. And I think it was starting simple really helped me find a balance to be able to start making like a snowball effect of, okay, now I can do more and now I can do more. And I think, I learned more here and I learned a lesson and now I get to tweak it again. So now like, I think, and then the first coach of course was my spouse. And then I asked his friend's wife because we used to hang out together. I was just like, hey, I'm doing this coaching thing. You want to try it with me? It's just like it's just, I think just being so real that you don't know what you're doing. But you're trying this thing out. Like, do you want to learn with me kind of thing? Like, we're going to link arms and do this together.
Did she do that challenge group with you back in like March 2019?
She did. And she is still coaching right now. But one thing that I think is so cool about her and I's story is that we're not in the same place, but her and I can see, maybe we started around the same time, but what did we do differently, and what can you start to do now to be able to build momentum for your own business? And I always tell people, like, don't ever compare ourselves, because it doesn't matter when we started or not. I started coaching, full on coaching the business the day that I signed up. And I always hear with Beachbody is that there's sometimes a sign up date and then a coaching date. And so whenever she tells me, but I've been coaching for 2 years, I said, no, you haven't. I just remind her, like, remind yourself, you signed up 2 years ago. Maybe you didn't go all in like I did. So let's find that date that you're going to start, and let's go with that. Because if you mentally tell yourself, I've been doing this for 2 years and I'm going nowhere, I was like, that's mentally not going to help you. So if we're starting January 2021 and that's going to be your coaching date and you're going to sign up again mentally for you to dive in, then we're going to go with that. Because telling yourself that you signed up 2 years ago and that you started coaching then is not going to help you, especially if you and I signed up the same time and you don't see yourself, the same place as me.
Do you do the same thing with like your new coaches? You kind of help them kind of get started the same way Kate told you? You would say to them, like, you don't have to worry too much about like building a team of coaches right now. Just focus on finding like 3 to 5 people that you can really give an amazing experience to, like in a challenge group. Is that kind of how you get your new people started? Just focused on that?
Yeah. So I just created like this new coach checklist, and I can drop it into the Team Boom, because I found that, it's just, I think the onboarding kind of just, it just improves over time within yourself, because you're just like, okay, that's way too much information. Okay, that's way too little information. Okay, we're kind of all over the place. This is taking way too long. So I made sure that I made like a checklist for them to actually do, because for me, I'm a checklist person too. And it reminds me, oh my gosh, like I didn't sign my spouse up yet. Or what the hell is Emerald kind of thing. Within Desire Empire, we kind of like recreated trainings that are in the daily tracker, the digital tracker. Those trainings are amazing.
Yeah.
And ours is almost the same as that, but we created it before that. So I just have my coaches go through our onboarding. And then if they need extra help, or if they're a go-getter like me, I'm like, go learn from other top coaches. And then I show them where the digital tracker is, because I'm like, this is what we'll eventually start using. But I don't want to overwhelm anybody, because that's where I feel like people just get so paralyzed. Like, oh, I have to do this and I have to do this and I got to post and I got to be in my videos and do all this stuff. And I'm like, we're just going to find 3 to 5 people and let's get your spouse on board. Like, yeah. I just try to keep it as simple as possible, because I know that if somebody runs into a challenge or whatnot, or obstacle, throughout their journey of like within their 3 to 5 people, and they're willing to get over that, this person ghosted me, or I'm nervous to ask this person. But if I see a coach doing the little things and not being scared, I'm like, this person's going to keep going past the 3 to 5 people.
Total. I just want to show like
oh yeah, I love
so like you go to the online office, you go to training, and then you go to the Success Club system. And this is where you can get that digital BAT, the business activity tracker, which I think you said you use, but you can also get all of the training videos, which are pretty amazing. Like if you go to this training support right here,
yep.
All of these right here are individual videos for like everything you can think of. Getting started with inviting, building connection, inviting to 3 most common situations, how to answer common questions, how to follow up, how to identify and maintain your why, aligning your activities with your goals. Like, this is amazing. Like that obviously we had to do this like initially ourselves before Beachbody created this, but now that they have the digital BAT and then the actual like short little 5-minute training videos that goes along with every little thing that you check the box on the BAT, game changer, huge. But I did want to switch gears a tiny bit, because about like the vision, the why, the big picture, the mindset, because I think those are like the 2 things that are really important for us to kind of focus on with our new coaches, is like the mindset and also the skills, obviously. But I think that mindset piece is kind of 80% of it. And then developing those skills and getting really comfortable with those skills, like those, that comes along. But if you don't have that big picture mindset and that foundation, then they're never going to stick around long enough to develop those skills. And I thought it was so cool when I asked you what you wanted to talk about on the call, and you said a few things that I loved. You said how to use your vision to keep going, how to believe things even when you're the only person who can see it, how to handle people who don't believe in you, and why Beachbody is the vehicle and how to use it as the vehicle. So I guess those first three, like how to use your vision to keep going, is huge, because a lot of coaches, they might think about their vision or their why, but they don't really use it long term. They kind of like, they lose sight of it. So how have you, over your first 24 months, like use your vision to keep going, to keep filling your tank day in and day out?
Yeah. So one thing that I've learned is that you have to have a vision that literally hurts your heart. Like that's something that is, whenever I don't want to show up for my business, because let's be real, there are days that we all don't want to show up for our business, or we don't even want to work out. But it's like building that discipline of, if I don't do this little thing right now, like sending 25 to 50 invites, my spouse is never going to make it home. And I just remind myself every day, because I'm a stay-at-home mom, but luckily I am a stay-at-home mom because because of coaching and the hard work that we put into this business, that it allows us to create an income for ourselves. But I was just like, if I continue to not want to do this, I'm going to be home with my son forever. And if you are a mom, they are the cutest things, but they can drive you insane. And I'm like, I'm mentally going to lose myself if I'm the only one home with my child. And then I have moments of, like, we get to go to the park together. And I'm like, I don't know if anybody else sees this, but I see a lot of women at the park with their kids. And I'm like, I don't see any guys here. And I'm just like, I know this is the norm where the guys are working and they're supposed to be working and the women are supposed to be, home with their child. And I'm just like, I don't want this. Like, I absolutely don't want this. And I think of my own childhood of, my dad used to maybe drop us off to school, and then he would come home before, after we fell asleep. And so maybe I get to see him for breakfast. And I was just like, I don't want that for my child. And so even after, 2 years of working into this business, I tell my spouse every single day, like, I'm just like, you're going to come home. I was like, you're going to come home no matter what. I'm going to work this business. I was like, I'm so tired. And I'm just like, and having that communication of knowing that your vision is out there, but like believing that you are going to get there, because you can have a vision, but if you don't believe in yourself and you're consistently doubting yourself, you're not going to get there. And when I look at my son, so I look at him and I'm just like, you need a dad here, and if mom's not going to show up, am I going to tell you, hey, dad can't come to your first game because he is still working? Like, I tell my spouse, if you, and I'm realistic with the business, I'm like, even if it takes us 5 years, if it takes us 5 years to build this business, freaking awesome. Because let's just say my dad is still working every single day and I'm 28 years old. I'm like, what is 5 years? We're always so focused on the right now and worried about the time that it's going to take. But I'm like, 5 years is really nothing. And so if we give ourselves that realistic goal of our vision, like even when my spouse says something, he's just like, I'm coming home at the end of this year. I'm like, I love your thoughts, but we're going to push for it. But I know it could happen. But even if it doesn't happen, I was like, you are going to come home. Maybe not this year, maybe not next year, but it's going to happen. And so I think it's just us reminding ourselves, and even looking at other coaches. Like, I see Kate when she brought home Curtis, and then there's Megan on our Desire Empire that got to stay home with her baby girl. Like, I pour myself into what I can see other people do, and then I'm like, I can do it too. Because I even see my spouse and I just think of daily things of, like, we just got home and we're both so exhausted. Like, he made me energized because I'm like, I have a call and I'm so tired. I was like, it's so nice to see you. I got 30 minutes to hang out and stuff like that just reminds me, work so freaking hard so that you guys got like a whole day that you get to spend together, because we don't have to wait for the weekend, or I'm not exhausted after taking care of a child all day and building this business while you're busting your booty at work and then coming home, and I get the rest of what you have left. And so I think it's whatever your vision is, because like that hurts my heart every single day if I'm just like, I'm not going to work this business. And I'm like, well, I look at my son, I'm like, well, your dad's not going to come home. And I'm like, yeah, right, Johnna, like, you know, you're going to bring him home. So whatever your vision is, like, I want you to think of it where, is it actually going to hurt you if you don't make it happen? Because if you make a vision that is so small and like you don't achieve it, you're going to be settled and you're going to be like, it's okay. Like, it's fine. I don't need that anyways. Then it wasn't important enough for you to work hard in this business, because none of us woke up, or I didn't go to college thinking I'm going to be a Beachbody coach. Like, a lot of times people are like, but this wasn't in my plan. And I'm just like, dude, God just freaking was just like, here, Johnna, like, you need to do this for yourself. And it wasn't part of your plan, but guess what? Now it is. Like, now it is. Just being open-minded and accepting that maybe this isn't what you wanted your whole entire life, but if it's something that you get to use to create a life that you want, or work, or making, you know, the opportunity to be like, I don't have to go and work as a nurse or whatnot if I don't want to, but I can choose to do it because it makes me happy. But if I don't want to, like, I got this amazing business that I get to do on the side that fits into my life. And I tell my spouse, because a lot of times I hear so many people complain about their job every single day. I have to stop him and I say, what are the good things that happened today? Just find it. Like, can we just find it? Because whatever you look for, you're going to find. And so I want you guys to like really like dig deep. If you don't have a vision, do it. Because when you find that vision and your why, you're going to show up every single day, no matter what.
You should be the one that's doing the videos and the training on the Success Club trainings tab, because you nailed it, like, even better than I think it's Moira that they have, is like the one that's talking about how to establish and maintain a vision that's going to be your fuel. And one of the things she said that she always asks her coaches is, what is it about your life currently that might create a little bit of stress or anxiety in your life right now? And for some people, it's not being able to spend enough time with the people they love, or it's money. There's like always stress with money or something to do with that. So when she's trying to help her new coaches create that vision that's going to be one that maintains them through the long haul, she's always asking them, what is it in your life right now that creates a little bit of anxiety or a little bit of stress, or maybe a lot of anxiety and a lot of stress? And I like the way you put it too, like, what's a goal or a why that if you didn't achieve it, it would hurt? Mm-hmm. Because if it's not going to hurt, if you don't hit it, like you said, you're going to be like, whatever. But if it's something that is already creating a little bit of stress and anxiety, like, that's the fuel. Getting out of a situation or creating a new situation, it's huge. It's the foundation. It's the fuel. So we got to get you on that tab with some videos about how to continue to maintain that fuel. There's a question on here. So Ashley asked, were your beginning customers and coaches mostly cold market and cold messages? I think you said you started with like people that you were already like friends with, right? Like but like, how did you go about like messaging them? What did you say to like all of your friends and like all of your boyfriend's friends?
Honestly, I just said, hey, we're starting a 21-day boot camp, starting whatever day it was. I wanted to see if you'd like to do it with us. And
like,
yeah,
you didn't get into all the details. You just said, like, we're doing a 21-day boot camp, starts April 12th. We just want to see if you'd want to do it with us, question mark. Done.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And then I think for NLC, Carl was talking about like keeping it simple. But when you're a new coach, you just want to like throw up everything. I know I want to. I just want to throw up everything, because I'm like, but I know they're going to want to know, but what is this? And well, what are you doing? And how much is it going to cost? Da, 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 da. And I'm like, I guess keeping it simple was, what I was supposed to do. Because when people say no to that invite, they're just saying no because they don't know all the information. Like, and then whenever they say no, thank you or whatnot, I just say, no worries, girl. I'm guessing you already have your own routine. Like something to be like, you know, like they could be like, oh no, it's just that I'm too busy. Cool. You know what? Do you think you can fit 20 minutes into your day for yourself? Then I just start like this conversation of finding whatever their problem is, because Beachbody has a solution for everything. Like I just have so much belief in that. Like whatever your problem is, I got you. Like Beachbody like has everything for you. Just let me know what your problems are and we're going to figure out something that works for you. So yeah, I just kept it simple. And like with my family, I would tell them, hey, I'm starting a business. We're doing a boot camp together. We're going to get healthy. Let's do it together. Like I think family, and if they ask questions, I'm just like, just don't ask questions and let's just do it together. I'm like, I just tell them, because for them, it's almost like moral support. It's them helping me with my business. But then helping them fall in love with it too. Like I have a cousin that was just like, I want a dancing program. And I'm like, I got you. Like, we're going to set you up with a challenge pack. And we set her up with one last month so that she could get a 50% off promo code. Like that was all that it took. I think like we just overcomplicate ourselves. But I'm going to be honest, when it comes to code messages and code markets and not knowing anybody, these are my thoughts of how I put it out there. I will invite every person, whether I know you or I don't know you, because if I don't know you and I send that invite, I'm going to make a connection with you. You're going to start watching me. You're going to be like, well, what the hell is this weird girl messaging me about health and fitness? And then you're going to watch. And then maybe you're going to watch for a year or two. And then you're going to see me, that I'm a real person. And then we get to build a relationship. Because, I'm not the type of person to be like, hey, Pat, how's it going? You got really cute dogs and whatnot. I want to let you know that I'm having a boot camp. If you want to jump in, you want to get healthy with me. Like, I'm like, come on. Like, I want somebody to be straight up with me. And I think that you should think about that within yourself of how would you want to be invited? And then you go do that, because it doesn't make me uncomfortable to invite somebody that I don't know, because every friend, even my boyfriend, even your spouse, they were a stranger in your life. All it took was a conversation that you had to be able to make that person a friend. And so I think of that when I send an invite. Like, you might be a stranger now, but now you're going to be family. Like, now we're going to work on health and fitness together. Like, everybody on this call, like, are strangers to each other. But by us showing up and, writing to each other or seeing that you're doing a boot camp, like, we can connect, we can be friends that way. But if I never send that invite to somebody that I don't know, I'm never going to get a chance to know that person. And I even think about that when it comes to like playing sports. I came to Colorado Springs knowing just my boyfriend and his family. And now I have a family within my softball community. And I think of it, if I didn't put myself out there by putting myself on a team, because you know how nerve-wracking that can be, where you have to be like, I gotta show out or they're not gonna want me back. I'm just like, but I gotta do it, even though you're so nervous to put yourself out there. And now they're like my best friends. And so just think about it that way. Your best friend was once a stranger to you too. So you never know. That one invite could make your best friend somebody that's a superstar coach in your team or something like that.
Do you run like a 21-day boot camp like each month? Is that kind of like your go-to?
No, I've changed it around. I try to, like, this month, because the next month I'm going to focus on Let's Get Up. But for this month, like, I created an email with like the sizzle videos of Morning Meltdown 100, because that's what I'm doing. And then I do Transform 20 just for people who don't have weights. And then 9-week Control Freak, because that's the package that I'll set people up with so that they can get everything. But then I give them, but then it's like me giving people 3 different options to get started with the program. And then we move on from there. Because I don't want somebody to sign up and then they say, I don't have weights. I'm just like, read the email. I'm like, there's an option for you if you don't have any weight, so that it gives you a 6-week period to be able to gather anything else that you need. Because, oh my gosh, this is the cheapest gym I've ever had with these weights from Walmart, instead of going to the gym and then paying that, that annual fee that you have to pay, where I'm just like, well, where did this extra $100 come out from? Like, I don't, and so I try to give people like that extra time. But I like to at least do a program that I'm doing, and then a program that can like fit into, like, I like to ask their questions first so that I can see what fits for them. But yeah, I don't just say like we're doing a 21-day program anymore. Like, I like to give them at least 2 or 3 options that they can choose from, so that they don't feel like I'm not a dancer and be like, oh, girl, you're fine. I'm going to start you off with a Shanti 6-week program that has no weights. Like, how does that sound? And then they can kind of go into that.
So do you have like just kind of an ongoing group like that people can be added to at any time? Like the ongoing challenge group or boot camp?
Yeah, so I have like just one with all my people in it, because one thing that I ran into that my clients didn't like was that when I would move them from one bod group to the next, or if I ran like a 9-week control freak and then I moved them into my ongoing one, they didn't like when their tracking disappeared, because it gets deleted from that bod group. And so I just put them into my ongoing, and then I create a messenger thread within the group that I make per month, so that we can have like a, even if it's just 2 or 3 people or 5 people, but we're together holding each other accountable, but still being able to be a part of the group with everybody else. So I used to try to run it, within each bod group, within my challenge groups for the month. But then they're just like, but what happened to all my tracking, and where did my progress go? And I'm like, yeah, it got deleted. Like, I'm sorry. So I just never wanted to run into that, because I think that really gets challengers excited, is when they get to see, oh, how many workouts did I log? How many Shakeologies did I take? And when I take that away from them, it almost feels like, I got to start all over again. So yeah, so I just keep them in the ongoing group, and then I just do a messenger thread so everybody can stay connected within like the small group.
And then do you do like what Kate kind of did with you? Like when you have a new coach sign up, do you just say like, hey, let's run a challenge group together and you can invite your people to my challenge group to start? Or do you tell them to start their own challenge group? Or do you let them decide?
I actually encourage them to start their own, but I will help them like in any way, only because I think sometimes we need like that. And I tell them, let's get you, your spouse, your sister, your cousin to be able to be in a group together and you guys crush goals, so that they can be the leader that they see. Because I'm just like, I don't want your group to feel like you need to be like me, or you need to post like me, because I use mompreneur, and I don't want you to think like, well, I have to do what Jonna does, because I didn't do what Kate did. Like, I just looked at the free resources that we had and then I ran with it. But I like to get my coaches be able to have like that leadership within themselves, within their first 2 people. Because if I keep letting people, I've learned that if I let people keep piggybacking, they never get off. Like, they're almost just like, one more month and one more month. And I'm like, dude, it's been 5 months now and you have like 15 people in here. And then I feel bad because then I don't want to kick somebody out because they've already been in the group and then they lose all their tracking. So I try to help them like get started like right away with their people, so that they can be the leader and just be like, dude, they signed up because of you. Like, not because of me. They don't even know me. They don't know what my challenge groups look like. They don't even know that we could post daily. They could just know that we track our workouts and our Shakeology, and like, done deal. Yeah. So yeah, I try to make sure that they try to get something under their belt, because then when you get your own team, I'm not going to be like, oh, well, bring your coach to me, bring your coach to me, bring your coach to me. You already have like, if I can help somebody with their health and fitness, I can help a coach do the same thing too. And so if I help them start off with some leadership position, then they can duplicate that to their coach too, instead of falling into the, piggyback, and kind of like never really get off.
Right. Jen had a question here. So when you find yourself having any like self-limiting beliefs or doubts, what is one thing you do to combat them? Mindset is so important, and I'm always working on mine. So what would love to hear your suggestions.
Yeah. So
I know you talked about the 5 year, like you have this like 5 year thing, like, that you're not like pressuring yourself to like make it happen right now. If it does happen by the end of the year, great. But if it doesn't, like your husband's going to
right.
still work.
Right.
What are the
But
other things you kind of do? Like do you have like self-limiting beliefs and like doubts that sneak in once in a while? And then, yeah, I guess how do you combat them?
okay, honestly, sometimes I feel like a unicorn because like I think I just came in here with so much belief that I have so much belief, like my mean girl can't even stop me. Like it's just, and I think it really, it's because Kate's just like, we need to listen to podcasts. I started reading as soon as I started this coaching journey. And I'm just like, if I don't believe in myself, I was like, who the heck is going to believe in me? Because I know before this coaching community, every single person would be like, Jonna, it's okay to quit if you want to quit. Like you should just go get a regular job. Like my parents tell me all the time. And sometimes like I would say maybe a limited belief is when my mom told me, when I get excited, when you just get so excited for your dream, but then you have like a person there that is just like not, just not going to hype up your dream. I'm just like, I'm so excited because like I'm going to bring my spouse home and we're going to do this and all this kind of stuff. And she's just like, yeah, but you've been doing it for 2 years now. So I don't know, maybe you should like use your MBA or something and like probably get a job. And then I'm sitting there, you're in a car and I'm just like, yeah, but no, I'm still going to make it happen. But I will let you know, like, I feel the feelings when somebody tries to tear you down, because we were in Hawaii and I was just like at my parents' house and I went into the room that we were staying in and I just like hugged my spouse and I cried. But during my tears, I said, I'm still going to do this. Like, I am still going to do this. And I truly believe personal development is like, I don't even care, like every single dollar that we make in this business, you can have it all back because like the growth that I got in this business is more than my MBA got me. Like, and that was like $60,000 for a piece of paper that didn't even get me a job. Like, it's so crazy how much just personal development has helped me. And I have read more books and listened to more podcasts, less music than I have ever done in my whole educational career. And it's because it's books that actually help me, like not books that help me learn about a formula that I'm never going to use, because let's be real, Excel is out there and there's formulas that I could just put something into. And so it's just, I love listening to, because I saw that somebody put in favorite podcasts, but I love listening to Do Your Crap by I think Micah Folsom is the person that does that one. And then I love Empower Her by Keisha. Keisha is awesome. And then Your Virtual Upline by Bob. He is
So are those all Beachbody coaches or network marketing?
well,
Micah Folsom's she has a podcast. She's a Beachbody coach. I know she's like one of the top coaches.
yeah, and then Empower Her. Well, Keisha Fitzgerald, I think she used to be a coach. I think she's still a coach, but like kind of pivoting towards helping people mentor with podcasting. And then Bob, he never really talked about like my virtual upline. He never really talked about like what his specific business is, but he gives tips based off of network marketing in general. And I truly believe that network marketers, like I don't know if anybody ever sees people, but they go from like one health and fitness company to another, thinking that it is the company that's going to help them build a thriving business because they sell $1 million or something in products. And I'm like, it still comes down to you. And so I love listening to him because he just gives general information based off of how you can run a network marketing business and take the tips that he has and use it towards whether you're Beachbody, whether you do like the hair and skin, or any other health and fitness, because he just like, he keeps it, you know, pretty general and simple, but for you to use no matter what company you're in. My favorite books, I really love Grant Cardone. He is like helping me like really want to even pivot on, like, coaching has just helped me dream bigger than I've ever dreamed before. But Grant Cardone, Be Obsessed or Be Average, is like a kick in the butt. Like, he almost makes you feel like if you want it and you are settling, he's just like, you better do more. Like, I know that the Success Club tracker says like 5 invites. I send like 25 to 50 a day because I'm like, you can't complain about the results you're not getting if you're not putting in the work that it takes. Like Beachbody helps us set the minimum boundaries of what we should be doing for a business, and it's up to us whether we want to take it and run with it and then just 10x all of that. Because if you, like, everybody wants fast, and I get it, but 5 years is so fast, guys. It is so fast. Like, it's so crazy of the time that we limit ourselves to. But if you continue to be able to just like allow yourself the time that you need to grow this business, because I love listening to trainings, but I tell you guys, if you listen to so many trainings, don't think that you have to do everything that they do. You don't have to do everything that I do, because I listen to some things and I'm like, I'm not going to try that right now because what's working for me right now is working, and I don't want to change up something that doesn't need to be fixed. But I just, like, we have so many trainings in Beachbody. Like, we all have the tools and the resources that we need. We just got to be willing to do what it takes to get out there. And Grant Cardone just really always gives you like a kick in the booty whenever you need it.
And I love that you're listening to like network marketing specific podcasts too. Like you said, like, there's certain things that, you know, make sense and click, but they're not as valuable as like listening to my virtual upline. Do you know what the guy, what his last name is? Bob
Heiling, I think it is. Let me see how you spell it. It's
so what's like your next big goal like for this year? Are you shooting, like, you have Bob Heiling.
Yes.
So you have, I think you have like a lifetime diamond on your right leg, right? Like Alexis Herrera.
Yeah, and so I'm gonna be real with you guys too. Right after we hit qualification, she dropped, and like she kind of just like decided, you know, to do something else that she wants to do. And so I always remind myself too, and I remind my coaches, because when coaches get excited for their first working coach, they're like, yes, I get this working coach and this coach is going to do everything. And I'm like, whatever that coach does not define you either, because what they do is a reflection off of them. All you can do is support, mentor somebody. But I've had 2 really good coaches that I could see the potential in them, but when they don't see it in themselves and they leave, it's okay. It's okay. Like, I've learned to be able to like embrace this whole journey of Beachbody and not let a rank define me. And I let my coaches know too that, like, yeah, cool, I'm a 1-star lifetime diamond, but if something happens and you drop rank or whatnot, I was like, just work your booty to get back up there. I was like, it's okay to drop rank, but it's never okay to accept yourself to stay there. Like,
Love that.
I've been talking with Johnny. Johnny is a corporate mentor. And we are setting a goal for 2-star for August 5th. And just really doing one-on-ones monthly of helping me help my coaches. And one thing that I told him that I ran into was that, like, I have so much drive within myself because I built it for me, like, because I have that vision that I want to go towards. And I told him I struggle with helping my coaches find the drive within themselves. And so if you find yourself, maybe your dream is really big and your vision is so big that you want it bad, but like you do get upset at yourself that it's not going to happen in 3 to 5 years, set little goals for yourself. I asked my coaches, I know your big goals and we're going to hold on to that, but how can we help you get excited within the next 30 to 60 days? And we talk about not just, I want to make $500 a month. I asked them, what is your $500 going to go towards? And one of my coaches says, that would cover care and rent because she's in the military. So so they're just paying whatever the military is not paying for their rent. And I'm like, $500? Cool. I said, from now on, we're going to say that you're going to start working towards paying for daycare and paying for rent, because $500 means nothing if something's not tied to it. And so I try to help my coaches find that little drive within their big dream so that they can still get like little hope nuggets is what I call it. So that you can be like, okay, I can do that and I can do this. And I'm just like, you just made $500 and you are one emerald away from diamond. Like it's almost helping them kind of get away from the, oh my gosh, I need to help 12 people because diamond, like I need diamond. It's like, dude, you just freaking paid for daycare and rent and you are so close to this goal. You want to run for it, and people think that they're so far from it. But when we help them focus on something that they want, then I'm like, okay, maybe that's what I'm missing. I was like, because I wasn't finding the drive for them to be able to show up for themselves in their business. Like they'd show up when they want to. And I was like, how can I help somebody show up even when they don't want to? And I know, like, if you want your coaches to show up, keep showing up. Because I tell myself, I'm like, but I show up every single day. I've showed up even after I gave birth. I show up after I was like sick for 2 weeks. I'm like, I'm still here and my coaches are still not doing it. That's almost a fixed mindset. And then I just like, I give myself a 5-minute pity party. I tell myself you have 5 minutes to be emotional. Then you got to be gangster after that. And so I'm just like, I just need to be able to find it in myself again, because if we're not going to show up now and we're just like, I'm going to wait till my team gets here, you're not going to show up then. And you're not going to be in a routine where you just show up fired up. You're going to be like, oh, I need to do this. And oh, I need to do that, instead of just waking up and doing it. And so know that if you're not doing the work and you're not being the dream coach that you want in your business, that's on you. Like that's on you, because they are going to model what you do. But whether they are following you or not, it is still up to you to show up for your business, because that one dream coach is coming. It's coming, but you got to be ready for it. So I tell myself that every day. Like my coaches right now and my team, they don't have a drive like I do. And that's okay. I still tell them, like, I love you guys so much, but who's going to run with me? Like everybody wants this dream, but who's going to work with it for me? Like it's just trying to continue to light their fire with so much belief in myself that I can trickle on to my coaches too, so.
I love that you have this like big 5-year vision. And so that like makes you not fall off when the little things happen, because I can't tell you how many times like I hit diamond and then dropped back to emerald, or hit 1 star and dropped back to diamond, or hit 2 star and dropped back to ruby. It's
Yes.
just part of the process. People are going to fall off. I've had a lot, a good amount of coaches that have hit diamond and then like fallen off and, don't do the business anymore. But the beauty of this business is you don't need 1 million coaches. You only need those 2 or 3 great ones that want this as bad as you do and have that long-term 5-year vision. I also love that you have that little 5-minute vision too, that 5-minute mindset, where when that self-limiting belief or the doubt, or I love that you call it like the mean girl, you're very conscious of it when it comes in and you don't let it overtake you and derail your whole day. You call it out for what it is. You give yourself 5 minutes and you get back to work.
Yeah.
And that's something that I think a lot of people would benefit from hearing you share more about on your stories, and more people start to like incorporate that same type of mindset in their life too. I don't know if you share that kind of stuff on your stories, but I'm going to definitely start watching them more because I love that. It's huge. You have both. You have the little tweaks you can make to your mindset in the moment, but then you have that long-term mindset. And the marriage of those two things is so rare in coaches.
Yeah.
And you both, which is
Yeah,
awesome.
I try to be as real as I can on my stories. And I got like a confirmation from somebody once where they're just like, I really want to join your boot camps, but like, I know I have excuses and I know that you don't like excuses. I was like,
People know, like you talk about that on your stories. Like you don't let yourself make excuses, so other people see that too.
right. I'm just like, if we're going to throw pity parties, like, what is that going to do for us? Like, it's not going to do anything. And I think coaching and like mom life, if you guys are fit, like, I'm just like, I love helping moms, but I just know because as a mom, or if you are a dad and you're just learning to take care of a child is so hard. And I shared this on my story. I said, showing up for kids is hard. And I was just like, if anything, we can say that showing up after a hard day of work and working out is hard. I'm like, that's the easiest crap ever because I don't think about nothing. I don't have to go to the gym. I don't have to go anywhere. My super trainer is telling me exactly what I need to do. And that is the one time within my 30 minutes of a whole day that I don't got to think. There is nothing that this mom has to do to think. Like, I just get to focus on me because I've been focusing on this kid all day. So I try to tie personal stories into how coaching or, this health and fitness journey helps me continue to show up, because I'm just like, I was really scared to let myself go after having a baby. And I'm like, I saw my sisters do it and I was like, I'm not gonna do it. Like, it's just, I need to be the proof for other people so that they can get back in it too. Like, it's hard, but life is hard. And we already proved to ourselves that we can do hard stuff. So what's another hard thing on our list?
You kept it. You kept that athlete mindset all the way through. I love it. I love it. This has been amazing. Let's let everyone unmute themselves and let's make sure we give her a huge boom to let her know how much we appreciate her bringing the fire, taking an hour out of her night to do this. All right, guys, let's do a big boom on 3. 1, 2, 3.
Go.
Boom! Boom!
Awesome. Thank you, guys.
Great job.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank you so much.
Bye.
See you guys.